it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be doing my May book haul. So I have some really awesome books that I have accumulated over the past month that I'm so excited to share with you guys. So this is a mix of newer releases and some older releases and some ARCs, and I am very pumped about all of them. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today's video is kindly sponsored by Disney Book Group in honor of the recent release of Willa of Dark Hollow by Robert Beatty. This is the companion to Willa of the Wood by Robert Beatty, and it just came out, so I will have a link down below so you guys can go and pick up your copy. But these books sound so absolutely adorable. First of all, these covers are absolutely beautiful. I am like obsessed with them. I cannot get over them. But these are really natural fantasies. They are for anyone who is a nature lover, and they just seem like they are going to like send a great message about loving the world and treating the environment right. So Willa and her clan are the last of an ancient race that lives in the Great Smoky Mountains and has lived there for as long as the trees have been there. But newly arriving humans have started to cut down great swaths of trees in the forest, and Willa feels helpless to stop them. She ends up discovering a mysterious dark hollow filled with all of these strange and beautiful creatures, and she actually discovers that there might be a creature that is hunting humans. So Willa is faced with trying to find a way to save the people and the animals that she loves, and also stop the impending darkness and find out who might be releasing these creatures. So I think this seems so interesting, and I just want to know more about it. I feel like the world is going to be fantastic. It's like a dark foresty setting, and I think that just seems perfect for springtime. I know dark might make it seem more like fall, but like anything natural, I feel like spring is when I want to read that. Both of these stories boast atmospheric storytelling, a heroine that you can't help but love, and are really hard to put down. So I am so excited to read these, and like I said, Willa of Dark Hollow, the latest companion, is now out, so you can check out the link down below. And thank you very much to Disney Book Group for sponsoring today's video. So the next book is one that I mentioned in my last haul that I hadn't arrived yet. Actually, there are two of those, but the first one is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So this is the final spring edition that I needed. It is, what are they called? The Seasons editions, and they are basically these like laser cut editions of different books, and they're released in the season where it's prevalent to the stories. So for this one, it's spring, and there are 3 others, so there's 4 that come out every season, and I have all of them so far, which is exciting. But they have done winter, spring, and summer, and then fall is coming this year. So I'm excited to have another copy. They print 10,000 of these, so like they are very limited edition, but they are honestly so absolutely beautiful. Next is the other book that I just mentioned that I had talked about in my last haul, and that is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. So I am so excited to have this book, and I so badly want to read it, but I don't want to read it right now because like everything is very stressful and chaotic as I am in the middle of moving, and we have like 40 days to move. So I'm trying to wait until I have time to really focus on it. So after this week, I actually might be able to read it, because this week we've just been like very go trying to get the house ready to sell as quickly as possible. But after, I will have time to like relax a little bit and pack at my own pace, which will be so nice. And that is when I am hoping I will be able to read this book. So this is the second book of the King of Scars duology, which is focused on Nikolai. I can never remember how to say his name. It is always a struggle to me, but he's one of my favorite characters. I absolutely love him, and I really enjoyed King of Scars. I thought it was risky and interesting, and I have heard some really great things about this. I have been avoiding most information, but I have heard some really great things that a lot of people really liked it. King of Scars had kind of mixed reviews, and I feel like this one might be doing a little bit better because the Shadow and Bone series just came out on Netflix, so like people are all hyped about it. But I'm just so eager to get back to some of the characters that I love, especially because these are characters that weren't really included all that much in the adaptation, which I did really enjoy, by the way. But I want to see them, like, I just want to read more Leigh Bardugo. She's one of my favorite authors, so I am so happy to have this. Next up is Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. So I talked about this in, oh, mine's actually weird. I can see like the, is that just mine? Oh, all the like, I don't know how to describe it, but the reflective parts are slightly, they're like a few centimeters over to the right, further than they should be. I don't think it's supposed to be like that because the spine is also like that. So like it's supposed to be on top of the letters to give them texture, but it's not. I don't know if that's gonna make sense to anyone, but anyways, I talked about this book and first found out about it in my Come Book Shopping With Me online edition video that I did recently, but I had no clue that this was by Becky Albertalli, and I really love her. So I hadn't pre-ordered this or anything, and I ended up pre-ordering it in that video because I was like, well, I do want it because it's Becky Albertalli, but I had no clue it was hers. I think it's because like all of her covers thus far have matched and this one doesn't, and I'm also not the biggest fan of this cover, to be honest. Like it kind of reminds me of older YA. I'm not really, I don't know, it doesn't really do that much for me, and obviously that doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying that's why I think it never really had stood out to me, and then I realized it was by her, so now I have it. But this is about two best friends. They are really into Broadway and they are super close. They like carpool to stuff. They have a great relationship, but it ends up that a guy who has been their long distance crush ends up coming and like living where they are. So he's actually there and both of them like him. So obviously that's going to kind of cause some conflict there between best friends. I am really interested in that concept because I've never read anything like that. It's like, I feel like you don't read a lot about unrequited love, but it's something that like happens a lot. And then like two best friends liking the same person, I don't think I've ever really read anything about that, and it seems like it could be really interesting. Obviously kind of a sticky situation, but I love Becky Albertalli's writing, so I think she's going to do a great job with this. Next up is What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberly and Austin Siegemund-Broka. So this is the latest release by this romance author duo. I included it on my May book haul because I really want to get to it, but I've read all of their books so far. I've had kind of mixed feelings about some of them, but overall I have really enjoyed them. I really like their writing, and they are a couple and they write romance stories. I think that's just adorable, an absolute couple goals. But in this one, it is an academic enemies to lovers story, and you follow two characters who their entire high school career, they have been competing in everything, and then they end up getting assigned to plan this 10-year reunion for one of the previous graduating classes together, and they have to work together, but it's also kind of a competition because it is for a recommendation letter to Harvard where both of them want to go. So definitely an interesting situation. I did just recently read Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which is also an academic enemies to lovers story, and I really liked that one. So I will say this one kind of does have quite a bit to live up to, but I'm gonna try and not compare the two. I love the cover for this one, by the way. It is so beautiful, like purple books. It's just everything that I want in life, but super excited to have a new book by these authors. Next up is Witches Steeped in Gold by Ciannon Smart. This is a Jamaican inspired fantasy, and it follows two girls who they are enemies, but they have to work together against a common enemy. So the one character, they're both witches by the way, but the one character, she has been imprisoned her entire life and every day is bringing her closer to the freedom that she wants. And the other character is the daughter of the queen, but unlike her sister before her, she doesn't plan to give up her life in order to make the queen more powerful. So the two of them end up having to join forces against a common enemy, and that seems like it's going to be really interesting. I really enjoy witch stories. I haven't read all that many, and this seems like kind of a different twist on a witch story, so it's definitely one that I am looking forward to. Next up is The Silence of Bones by June Her. So this is a historical thriller story, mystery sort of thing, so it doesn't generally seem like something I would gravitate towards, but I've heard some really great things about it, so I ended up pre-ordering the paperback, and now I have it because it has been out for a little bit, like probably a year now. But this is actually set in the 1800s in Korea, and you follow a main character who she is living out an ancient curse, and she is indentured to the police bureau, so she has to join with this inspector to try and solve this politically charged murder. But she ends up kind of connecting with the inspector more than she was expecting to, but then her loyalties end up getting tested when that inspector ends up being a prime suspect. So I think there's going to be a lot going on in here. It seems really interesting, and I just really don't know what to make of it, but wow, does it seem like it's going to be very cool. Next is One Great Lie by Deb Caletti. So this was actually sent to me unsolicited by the publisher, so thank you so much to them for sending this to me. But this is a book that it follows a girl who gets this scholarship to go to Venice. It's a writing workshop that she can do there with like this famous author. But in Venice, she also is trying to uncover some stuff about her family. Like there might be this poet that was very talented and they wrote a very famous poem but never got credit for it. So there's kind of like a mystery going on there as well. But I just have been super into books that transport me somewhere else. So being transported to Venice and reading about a main character who's a writer, also like all of that just sounds like something I'll love. Next up is Sister of the Bollywood Bride by Nandini Bajpai. So this is a book that it's the author of A Match Made in Mehendi, which I really want to read, but this is an arc. It comes out at the end of this month. It comes out May 25th, I believe, but it sounds so cute, so adorable, and like the perfect like spring and summer read. So I was so excited to get a copy of this, and thank you very much to the publisher for sending it my way. But this follows a sister who she has ended up planning her older sister's wedding because she's trying to plan the perfect Bollywood wedding for her that her mother would have planned, but her mother died several years ago, so she is the only person who can plan the perfect wedding for her sister. I think like wedding planning, all of that, I just am gonna love this one. I know that I am, and it makes me want to pick it up like immediately. Next up is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. I do not know what to make of this, but I know it sounds really interesting. So it is about this girl who accidentally ends up murdering her, like, what? She ends up accidentally murdering her blind date. So then her meddlesome mother ends up trying to help her hide the body, but she also asks the aunties to help. I have no clue what's going to happen. Like there's also a wedding business here. I just don't know. Like literally on the back it says, what happens when you mix one accidental murder with 2,000 wedding guests and then toss in a possible curse on 3 generations of an immigrant Chinese Indonesian family. You get 4 meddling Asian aunties coming to the rescue. That sounds like fun. It seems like it's going to be super different and unique. Like I love that plotline because like what? And that's just, I don't know, that hooks me right away. Next up is Blade of Secrets by Tricia Levenseller. So this is the latest by the author of Daughter of the Pirate King and Warrior of the Wild. Those are the only 2 of her books that I've read before, but this one really intrigued me. I'm also intrigued by her previous release. I just haven't gotten it yet. I think I pre-ordered the paperback, but this is about a blacksmith who has social anxiety, so prefers to kind of stay to herself, but she ends up getting a commission from a warlord to make the most powerful blade, and it's going to have more power than just like actual physical power. It will also reveal all the secrets that that person has. So she ends up realizing what this warlord plans on doing with this blade. So she takes her sister, she takes the blade and goes on the run with it, which I think is going to be a really interesting situation. I've never read anything about a blacksmith, and I think it seems like it could be super cool. I'm not sure if this is a series or not, or if it's just a standalone, because I think her previous book was a standalone. Warrior of the Wild was for sure, but it's nice to have some new fantasy standalones, but I don't know if this one will be that, but I do know I am intrigued. Next is The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan. So this seems like, one, the cover totally drew me in, but it follows sisters. So the main character, she wakes up on this island with like no memory, except she remembers that she has a sister, and there's AI, and then there's another like that's on the island with her, and then there's another character that it follows who is like a STEM prodigy, and I'm not really sure how it connects, but I do know this is kind of one that I want to go into not really knowing a lot and see what happens. So that is definitely the plan for this one, but it does sound super unique. Next is Counting Down With You by Tashie Bhuiyan. So this follows a Bangladeshi teenager, and she ends up in a fake dating relationship. I love fake dating, but she ends up in a fake dating relationship with the school bad boy that she has been tutoring, and part of this fake dating relationship is like he agrees to buy her books every week. So like that sounds amazing, but it's going to last for a month, 28 days actually. And that's why it's counting down with you, like counting down the days of their fake dating. But we all know what's gonna happen and it sounds so good. So can't wait to get to this one. And finally, I have a finished copy of Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson. So I got this in the mail and like this is the first thing I saw and literally I was like, chef's kiss, this is amazing. Like, look at, oh my goodness, that's all I need. But I got a finished copy of this. I was actually sent it because I'm going to be doing a live show on my channel. I don't know if it'll be before or after this video is up, but I will have the date and time on the screen for you guys. But I'm going to be doing a live show with Maureen over at Maureen Kiwi, Emma over at Emma Books, and of course, Morgan Matson is going to be at the live show. So it is to celebrate the release of this book. I'm so excited because she's one of my favorite authors and I cannot wait to read a new book by her, and also having her on my channel, like that just is going to be so much fun. So I can't wait for it and I hope that you guys will join me. Like I said, I will have the information for that down below as well. But I'm so excited to have a copy of this book. It is about two best friends who are in New York for a night and they are planning on having like the night of their lives, but then pretty much everything goes wrong. Like they start by losing their phones and I'm sure you can see how that is going to end in disaster, but super pumped to read this. Okay, so those are all of the books that I have acquired this past month. It is a really good stack. Like I don't think this is overwhelming, but I do know that in the next little bit, I'm going to be getting a lot of pre-orders because May is when a ton of books come out. So I'm just kind of preparing myself for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much to Disney Book Group for sponsoring it. Don't forget to check out Willa of Dark Hollow by Robert Beatty, which is out now, and it is the companion to Willa of the Wood by Robert Beatty. So definitely check out both of these. I will have a link down below for you to do just that. But please do let me know what books you have acquired this past month because I would love to know, or if you are excited about any of these, if you have read them, I would love to know your thoughts on them. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you in a new video soon. Bye!